What's going on, all you savages out there? This is your boy, the Big Guy, and listen to the unkept, uncut, gnarly as hell podcast in the world, Shooting the Breeze with the Big Guy. So the first thing I want to talk about of the podcast is, this big thing recently I read a few days ago. I know this is Thursday recording, this is meant for Monday, but I think realistically doing it near the end of the week is better because I can do a review of the week and stuff like that, and there's more stuff to talk about, whereas I don't have to keep researching and stuff like that. But anyways, I'll still do it every day, but I think doing the first episode this time on Thursday is better. But I first really want to talk about one of the first few things I read the other morning. And that was, Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, the final one of the Skywalker series, trilogy, whatever you want to call it. There's been 9 movies, so I guess you call it tri-trilogy. And, they said it was opening the same weekend as Aquaman, the second one. I don't know the title of it. I could care less about it, really. Said they're both opening the same weekend. That's a big deal. Problem, I guess you could say. Well, I shouldn't say you should guess, or I should guess, but it is a big deal because, a movie like Star Wars, a massive movie, a conglomerate of movie and franchise within Lucasfilm and Star Wars and Disney, but the same weekend as DC and Aquaman. And I'm pretty sure the first Aquaman movie that they made, this actor, with Dolph Lundgren in it, I believe. Or maybe this is the third one. I'm not 100% positive, but I believe it's the second one. And I think it did pretty well. Not compared to Star Wars, I should say, that level, but, it did decent well. So obviously, it had to have done well if it got a second one, but, Star Wars is just the biggest ever, and it's guaranteed to make 600 million plus. And most probably aren't going to make $1 billion like Force Awakens and The Last Jedi and ones like that, but it's a big issue, you could say, because, what's going to move? You're not going to move Star Wars because they own all the markets practically. Disney is just a big market. Disney's not going to move. Bob Iger's not going to move them. The person in charge of Disney. And, you got Aquaman, who's probably there first because, Disney and Lucasfilm and Star Wars itself, they always have the same stupid bullshit problem of always putting the freaking movie in May, and then they like to move it because they're always behind. They're always behind. Ever since they started with Force Awakens many years ago, in 2015 I think it was, they always say, oh yeah, it's coming out in May, and then they freaking push it back to like December. Like, what the hell is that? Like, you get all the hopes. I mean, granted, I can last. I mean, it's such a long wait for it. But, I'll do it. I don't care. So it'll be interesting with the Star Wars movie, but I honestly think just leave them because they're 2 big movies. And regardless of how big they are, the movie theaters are going to want to keep them probably because they're going to make them money. Like, there's a movie theater, like, 10 minutes down the street. My mother's time, it's 5 minutes. To her, everything's, short. And, you can make there in, like, 5 seconds. Like, my father's house, both my parents are divorced, been separated for years now. And, he lives near my mother, which is good. And she's like, oh yeah, it's 2 minutes on the road. 2 minutes? First of all, it takes me 2 minutes just to get out of my house. It takes me about 5 minutes to get out of my neighborhood, because I gotta drive out of my driveway, out of my little section of the neighborhood, and to the front to wait to see if any car's passing, and then drive. So it takes like 10, 12 minutes just to get to his house. Never mind lights, if anything, or cars, a lot of traffic, so. But I would keep, if I was the movie theaters, I would keep both there and just see all the money that comes in. You're going to make over $1 billion with combined both, at least. But I could see how it's a big issue. Besides that, there's nothing really to it, I guess you could say, because, like, I don't know why that it's an issue itself, because I would keep both, movies there to begin with. It's just common sense, movie. See, everyone's in it, everyone's out there, people like in that position, are just out there to make money, It's all about filling their pockets. Let's put that with general, government, politicians, and stuff like that, sports. It's all about the money. So I don't know why they wouldn't just keep them both there. I don't know why it's an issue to begin with. Obviously Star Wars is going to be much bigger than Aquaman, but I just don't get it. But, another interesting thing I saw online, which really didn't make sense, and it didn't really grind my gears, but I was really confused as hell. I was like, what the hell is this? And, I read that, Juju Schuster went to prom with some kid, some high school guy. I was like, what the H is this? Like, this kid first of all, this kid got blackballed so hard his girlfriend had a lot of balls to do it. Poor kid's girlfriend broke up with him right before prom, and so he didn't have a date. Instead of asking some effing girl in his high school, instead of asking some broad in his school, he decides to ask a celebrity. Ain't nothing wrong with that. They do it all the time, and I give him a lot of credit for the celebrities actually going through with it and have fun. But he could have asked some amazing supermodel lady or famous actress, or athlete actually, because females are athletes too. But no, he asked Juju Smith-Schuster, the running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Of everyone, out of everyone he asked a guy, celebrity, to go with him. And they're wearing matching velvet green suits with matching bow ties and all. And then Juju Smith-Schuster's like, oh yeah, I had a litty time in high school at the prom. Stop. Like, why? Why did you have to ask Juju Smith-Schuster of all people? Like, no, like he's a phenomenal athlete. He's a decent athlete. Like, I don't want to say phenomenal because he really hasn't achieved much. I mean, sure, he's really good. And he's done a great job taking over when what am I forgetting his name? Running back for Pittsburgh, and not Antonio, Le'Veon Bell. Yeah, he did a good job when Le'Veon Bell was having a stupid thing. That was ridiculous. Get the hell out of here. Go to the Jets. You'll suck massive ding dong there. But I don't. Why him? Like, I'm sure there are lots of girls who aren't going that would have loved to go if you asked them last minute. I mean, granted, I never went, and I have my own reasons. And I'm not going to discuss them here because this isn't the View where we spew our personal poison stuff. But I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Just like how Roger Goodell, he wants to reduce the preseason schedule, and it just doesn't make sense because it means nothing. Begin with the preseason. None of the top guys who actually will be playing in the regular season will have a roster spot. Or we'll be playing in the preseason. I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense because it's not interesting, and it's so long and it's just so annoying, and it means relatively nothing. Like I'm a big Vikings fan. I'm not the biggest football fan to begin with, but it doesn't make sense to watch. Like, it's just so boring because there's a bunch of guys who are no names, and I don't get it. It's just boring. And there was one, I'm trying to look up his name. I forget what his name is, but he said it perfectly. The guys out there doing this, the roster spots are already filled. They're already known. You know who's starting, and the only guys who really positions are empty. The kickers, punters, stuff like that. And that one guy who sneaks in and has that magical story, and I forget what his name. I should know his name. I should have written it down, but it makes total sense because Tom Brady's he might go in there for a down or two, and that's it for the rest of the game. Maybe for the rest of the preseason, because no one's gonna take his position, and like the guy that they drafted, Henry. I don't want to pronounce his first name, so I'm not gonna say it because I'm gonna butcher it. And he's gonna be in there maybe, and probably, and you got Julian Edelman, people like that. Position's already filled, and who's already going to be there, and it's known that during the preseason. So it makes no sense. It's like the why am I forgetting it? The Pro Bowl. It was so great, just like the All-Star game used to be for the NBA. Now they got all these stupid bullshit rules about how to do it. Like, listen, this is how you shoot it. I know the majority of the players who voted the best, which it should be, they're not going to play, whether they're in the Super Bowl playoffs or whatnot, and they're not going to play. So you get the next man up. But you let the fans, because that's how it always should be, vote for who the best players are, and they still do that. And it should be statistics. It should be the best players at each position for however many they need. And then you get the coach. The NFL or the fans vote for the best coach available, and they coach and they play like a regular game, not this stupid shit of half a game, 3/4 of a game, a quarter of the game, or you only use half the field, and you only have this amount of time to throw the ball with this many downs, and only pass sideways and crossways, and only can wear a tutu. Like, there's just they change it. Like, what is this? It's starting to turn into like American Ninja Warrior, and like it's not football anymore. And it's like the NBA All-Star game. It's such a waste of time because like I'd rather watch the Rising Star game, not even the Rising Star game, but like the skills challenge. Like that's more interesting than the NBA All Star game because they don't try. Yeah, you see it's 236 to 247 because no one plays defense. They shoot from way out. They're practically shooting from half court, and they don't try. Like, what are you showing? Like, you're trying to prove which conference it's better. Trying to prove your conference is better, whether you're for the West or Eastern Conference. Like, I don't get it. Like, I just, I don't get why people waste time. But I don't get why people waste their time doing this stuff, and even having the Pro Bowl or the preseason when it does nothing. It does nothing. It's not even like helping like just give players downs. They're not. Most of them aren't going to make the team. Most of them are going to retire or quit because they can't make a team and they can't make a substantial living. So they become a high school coach or a college assistant or something. It's just it's so ridiculous. I don't get it. It's just and another one thing that really surprised me. Houston Rockets. My team. I love the Houston Rockets. I've loved them for the last 10 years. Ever since when I was growing up, I never was a big sports fan just because it was kind of boring to me. I never really watched. I'd watch here and there and whatnot. But 2009 is really when I started watching sports, and I really, not really basketball per se, but, when I liked basketball, and that's when I started that, I like the Yankees, and, I actually really like the Yankees since, like, first grade. And, we were learning percentages and numbers and statistics and all that stuff. And she was like, okay, my teacher's like, so how many of you like the Red Sox? Raise your hands. So she counted them and took the red marker and wrote down tallies on the paper thing, on the big pad. And then she said, and I look, I'm like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to go with the Yankees, god damn it. So I raised my hand for the Yankees, and I was shocked because there was like 3 or 4 other people that made me like the Yankees in the whole class. And, it wasn't like I was actually a Yankees fan. I just wanted to switch sides, I'm like that. Like make things different. And I've liked them ever since, and I was paying attention to them when they won the World Series, but Houston Rockets back to them. And I started to like them because of Yao Ming and, the old Tracy McGrady when he was, getting near the end of his career, about 2009, 2010 to 2000. So about 8 to 9 to 10 years I've liked them. And I liked them ever since, through the bad times, through when Portland when Damian Lillard hit that game-winning three-pointer in the playoffs a few years ago. I think that was 2012 or 2014. And Dwight Howard, and through all this stuff, and almost getting Kawhi Leonard, he was good, and almost getting Chris Bosh, but not. And it just, I've seen a lot with him, and to find out that everyone's on the trading block, like, what is this? Why? Tell him for Tita, or how do you pronounce this name? I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong. Daryl Morey, what is your problem? Like, seriously, why trade? Listen, James Harden is obviously by far, and no one else competes. He's the star player. He's the franchise player. He's the star of the team. So don't trade him. Clint Capella shouldn't be traded. Look how much he's developed in the last 2 years. Don't trade him. PJ Tucker, he's not a phenomenal player. You can see it in his statistics and his salary. Yes, I mean the salary. You look at Boogie Cousins, making $5 million in 1 year. Look at where he is. But he's such a good player, PJ Tucker, and he's such a big, massive sneaker, and I love that part. And you see, he got 1 defensive all-team vote, and James Harden got 2. You look at that, and he played every game during the season that he was in, and he was just such a defensive plus in the playoffs and in the regular season in general over the last 2 years. And it's just, I don't know why you want to trade. Like, I could see why, just because, like, it's not like he's a star player like James Harden. I can completely see that. At the end of the day, you trade him. It's not that big of a deal. It's not like you're losing a big piece. But defensively, you're losing a big piece. And veteran-wise, you're losing a decent-sized piece, I guess you could say. Eric Gordon, I wouldn't trade, I guess you could say. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of him. Like, even when he got traded to the Rockets, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, yes, we got this guy, so great. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I wasn't like blown away, but he's good. 3-point wise, and you all have to shoot the three when you're on the team. Besides Clint Capella, you really have to learn to shoot the three on that team. And so I guess you can trade Chris Paul. I would trade him only because it's like, it's not really like LA, because LA, it worked with like a um tri tripod of leadership with uh, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Jordan, and other pieces behind them. But it doesn't really work in this sense, because you read, I don't know if any of you read, but you see it recently now that there was arguments between Chris Paul and James Harden. Rightfully so. Both players thinking they're in charge of the team, and it's just everyone to function. And the only super team there is Golden State. And you can say all you want about how they almost had it. And, they almost did have it. The Rockets almost beat them. With KD going out of the game with soreness in his left hamstring, and he left that game. They could have won that, but they choked like always. And the next game they had a chance because he wasn't even in the game, and they gave it up then, and they lost the series. So it was so frustrating to see that, because they deserve to have at least one or two championships, but to put everyone in the trading block, I don't get it. Like, I could see like all the non-stars, like the guys really down below not getting any minutes, really getting traded. Like, personally, they shouldn't have signed Nene back. He's not that bad, but just get him out, please. I don't want him on the team. He's not benefiting. The team's not benefiting him. Granted, it's veteran leadership, but just still, like someone like why am I forgetting his name? I just had it tip my tongue. Yeah, they got from Denver. I forget his name, but Kenneth Faried, like that. Like, I don't mind that. He's a decent player. It's just, why would you put everyone on the trading block? Like, look you're not going to get anyone big. Let's get one thing straight. You're not going to get anyone big. Anthony Davis. If you got him, that'd be great. But you're going to have to trade Chris Paul, Clint Capella, Eric Bledsoe. It's just, there's so much you're going to have to trade for him, and I don't want that. Because what if it doesn't work? It's just keep everyone. Trade Chris Paul. Trade Chris Paul for one or two players, and get rid of someone who's down below, who's not doing anything for the team and barely playing. That's how you do it. So, Anthony Davis, I don't know what his problem is. Don't go to LA. Don't go to any teams in LA. Don't go to the Knicks. Stay in New Orleans. Okay? Work your shit out with the team. And look, you have Zion Williams, Drew Holiday. Like, you have two good players on the team. So I don't know why you would do that. Like, just stay. You're gonna make the playoffs. Like, get your freaking shit together. Stop acting like a damn baby, and play on that team. It shouldn't be about the money always. It should be about playing, making a difference for kids and in the league. But whatever, with anything, it's always about, and another good thing I want to talk about is how this podcast episode's coming out, the day after during the playoffs, and where it is right now. It just, I thought Golden State was going to win last night. It's very hard to win in Golden State, regardless if it's regular season or if it's during the playoffs. But they just were playing. Like, I didn't watch besides the last maybe 2 minutes of the game. I forgot it was on, to tell you the truth. And like a lot of sporting events, I don't really like sport. I don't like watching it that much, just because a lot of it's so long. Tennis, basketball, football. It's just so long that I can't watch it. So I'll watch maybe highlights and I'll talk about it. But Toronto's just such a great team. I honestly thought Golden State was going to win, and I thought they were going to win 4-1, but they're not. I honestly think, with Kevin Durant still not in, Klay Thompson possibly not going to be playing, I think, they go to, now that since it's 2-1, they could sneak back to Toronto, win that game, 3-1. Then they need one more. Or they could lose this one and go there. I think if they win 3-1, then they're up big. Up 2 games. Golden State will probably win another one. Maybe 2 games. Then we 3 all go to 7. I think, though, they could win in 6. 6, not 5. 6 or 7. I think 6, though. I think they could win the next 2 games. It's just... why am I forgetting his name? I forget his name, but Siakam is just a good player. Freddie VanVleet coming back very well. Danny Green, very good player. Why am I forgetting his name? Not LaMarcus Aldridge. Why am I forgetting his name? Whatever his name is. The Claw. I'll just call him the Claw. He's so good. And it's just, Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, why couldn't I remember that? That's really sad when you're doing this, and you say, you make all these sounds and stuff, and you get caught up, you trip all over your words and stuff, and you can't remember names. And Damian Woody, that's who it was, but the NFL who's saying, the roster's already known. But No, the Kawhi Leonard is just a top 5 player in the league right now, top 3. And you can say, oh, not LeBron and Steph, and Kevin Durant. I honestly think, Kevin Durant, uh, Kawhi Leonard. I don't think LeBron is in the top 5, honestly. I think James Harden's in there, Russell Westbrook, Kawhi, and Kevin Durant. LeBron's maybe 6 or 7. Why? Because look at LeBron. LeBron's supposed to be the best player ever in this lifetime right now. And he could you talk about how great he is. He did nothing for the Lakers. He didn't bring them to playoffs, and he's known for bringing teams to the playoffs. And he let that team down. And he's the type of guy, when the team's losing, he gives up because he doesn't like when he's losing, and then he blames it. He doesn't blame them. He doesn't say, "Oh yeah, we lost. I lost. I didn't play well." It's more. He blames it more on the team itself, not really on his own performance. And the Toronto's just such a good team, and I think Kawhi's just such in a good place getting traded, and I think that was kind of awful, not awful, but just annoying and stuff, and how it was made into such a big deal. I'm happy that he made his peace, I guess you could say, with Coach. Why am I forgetting his name? Why am I forgetting all these coaches' names? Popovich. He made his peace, I guess you could say, with him, and I think he should return back. So, I know he wasn't sure, and this is just a one-time deal, but I think he should. There's so much there, with Danny Green, Fred VanVleet, Marc Gasol, Pascal Siakam, and Kyle Lowry. It's just so much there. And the fan base loves Toronto, and it's just besides Drake, Toronto's such a great team and fan base, and I hope he stays personally. But no, yeah, it's interesting. Another thing I want to talk about, another switch. I've talked about NFL and NBA, and I'll get to MLB. I don't want this just to be a sports podcast, but I like to talk about sports. It helps me get my mind off stuff, especially when I get to put in a swear every now and then. I don't like to swear a lot and really bad because then I won't get debugged, or not debunked, I should say, like taken off of YouTube. So I want to stay on YouTube positively this time. Another thing I want to talk about, though, is, Andy Murray. He's probably the biggest or one of the best all-time tennis players, not just back home in Britain, but in the world. He's won a few Wimbledons and he won numerous other titles. And, he had to retire during this Australian Open this year because he was having troubles with his hips. And one was fine, the other one was just suffering. And he was just, his level ability was just dropping so fast. I felt so bad for him because he's so great. And I hated him so much. It just, he beat Nadal and Djokovic and guys like that for the not a U.S. Open, for the Wimbledon. And I hate him for that. But he was such a great player, and he was always in it, and he always beat the players I liked. But I felt bad for him. And I didn't cry, I should say. See, I get caught up in my words. But I didn't cry, but I was really upset about it because he was such a good player, and he did so much for the tennis community and profession itself. And I'm happy to read that he's coming back for the Queen's Club doubles tournament. Not just doubles, it's singles too, but back on the grass over in London, I should say. I'm not 100% sure where it is exactly, but I know it's over in the UK. I'm pretty sure it's in London or Britain or something like that. I know London, Britain or something, but he's playing with Feliciano Lopez, a favorite player of mine. He's a top 40, top 35 player in the world. And it's just, I'm so happy to see that he's back, and surprisingly, I'm pretty sure he's resurfacing and stuff like my grandfather got, recuperating, rehab, everything's going great. I'm happy to see that, so hopefully he comes back, and just like Del Potro did. Obviously, he's probably way outside the top 1,000 now, so he'd have to put a lot of work, but I think doubles for him is great right now, because singles is just so much more running, and it's a lot of pressure on the hips, and I wouldn't want to put that on him. And especially now that he's probably gotten a little slower, I think doubles is great for him right now, and I'd like to see what he could do in doubles. Not play with Feliciano Lopez for the whole rest of his playing time, but I just love to see him in doubles. I'm happy to see him back, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the tennis world right now. You got French Open right now, and I haven't really watched it, and I wish I did. Me and my dad were gonna make a bracket and do all that stuff like March Madness, but we never got around to doing it. I forgot about it. It's just I enjoy when I used to do that. But no, there's the French Open, and Nadal and Federer, they're supposedly playing again. Yeah, they're playing again. And let's see these men's scores. So what was yesterday? Tuesday. Yeah, so yesterday, Federer beat Wawrinka 7-6, 4-6, 7-6, 6-4, and Nadal beat Kei Nishikori from Japan, 6-1, 6-1, 6-3. And so today would be the other quarterfinal match. So Djokovic beat Zverev 7-5, 6-2, 6-2. And Dominic Thiem beat Kachanov from Serbia. Yeah, or no, Russia. 6-2, 6-4, 6-2. And then tomorrow would be the semis, and you got Federer versus Nadal and the Djokovic team. And I think that Federer and Nadal, it's always a great match. You know, when they played in the U.S. Open, Australian Open, and I don't think Wimbledon, but when they played in the U.S. Open, Australian Open, it was just a few years back. It was just so great because both went 5 sets, and they're just the two greatest players of all time, bar none. And not Pete Sampras, not Andre Agassi, not Novak Djokovic, none of these guys. And Roger Federer and Nadal, just the two greatest players of all time. And to see the matches go 5 sets was phenomenal. And I'm so happy that both won one of those titles. But I'm pretty sure both of them won. Or Nadal won, I'm pretty sure, Australian Open and French Open, and then Federer won U.S. and Wimbledon. I'm just so happy. So honestly, French Open, I think Federer's just looking great. He hasn't dropped a set. Neither has Nadal, I don't think. And I just think I'm so happy to see both of them. But I think Nadal, this is just his court. He runs this. And he runs the table here. So I think he's going to win this. And I think that Djokovic versus Thiem, I think Djokovic is going to win. And then also for a big matchup between Nadal and Djokovic, the 1 versus the 2, Djokovic being the 1 and Nadal being the 2. And I think, I want to go with Djokovic because he's such a good player and he's improved over the last year, hurdling over all sorts of stuff. So I think Djokovic is going to win it. Honestly, I think it's going to go 5 sets. I could be wrong. Either or, I won't be mad. Either whoever wins against Federer and Nadal, I won't care. I won't be upset about, and I'll be happy either way. And it's just that'll be a great match. And the other one, Djokovic Thiem, both just 2 great semifinal matches. Whoever wins, I won't be upset. I mean, granted, I would love to see Djokovic in the finals. So I would like to see Djokovic in the finals versus I don't care who, Federer or Nadal. But speaking of Thiem, it was Thiem. It was Thiem. Yeah, he was playing the other day, and he got kicked out of his press conference interview. Just stupid. And it was by Serena. And that's not me saying how I'm an anti-feminist, but, who does she have the goddamn right to kick him out of an interview? She lost. Why does she get to kick him out? He was in there for 5 seconds. He deserves the right to be angry. No. Yeah, I stuck up for her when she was fighting for women's rights in the last year and stuff like that, and what she was wearing and stuff. But, I don't know, I hate her now almost. Not really. My friend Sam Kaczynski was a big tennis fan and stuff, and watches more than me. Probably knows a lot more than me, even though I grew up in a tennis family. But, he was right to... No, it's raining outside, I think. Yeah. He was right, Serena, why are you doing this? You have no right to be kicking someone out when you lost. He won. Let him speak. He's got more of a right than you. And that's not being him a male. I'm not shooting down women. They have all the rights in the world. And unless you're down in Alabama or across the pond in Saudi Arabia or something like that. And he's just, you don't have a right to kick someone out of their interview, especially if they won. If anything, really, she should have probably gone before him, and they should have gone on. Because if he did this to her, he would have been in much more bigger trouble, and women would have been going crazy and stuff like that. And it's just, I got nothing against women's rights, but you just don't kick a man out of his interview like that. He won, he deservedly so. Should have been for as long as he won, and she lost. She shouldn't even have an interview. Who cares if she's the most richest female athlete out there? Who cares how popular she is? She lost. And that's not me saying being against women. She just shouldn't have one. You lose. You shouldn't have an interview. Okay, first of all, you're upset. So why would you want to do that? I don't get that. On top of 5-set match, my grandfather was talking about this the other day, and it's true. 5-set matches, they're just best of 5 sets. So it's tennis. It's an odd number to win. So if it's best out of 3, you got to win 2. Best out of 5, you got to win 3. Best out of 7, you got to win 4. So it only works with odd numbers. But it's so long, especially if it's a match that goes 5 sets. You're sitting there for hours watching it, and I can't do that. That always happens in Wimbledon. French Open sometimes, Well, it really happens in anything. In any of the four major Grand Slams: U.S. Open, Australian Open, French Open, and Wimbledon. But it's so long, and he was, my grandpa was quick, especially if it's on tape delay or if it's already happened, and it's a replay. You're up for so long watching. I mean, granted, I'm up till 3 o'clock in the morning, anyways. So, like, I could watch the whole match because I'd be up that long. But it's so long and it's so boring. Granted, I really don't watch tennis to begin with. I more just like to play, even though I rarely play. It's so long, and no one wants to watch that. Why did the women get to play best of three set matches? Like, what's the difference between them? Like, they can compete at the same level as men. Like, they have all the same things in tennis, and why do they get to play 3 set matches and the men don't? Like, it's so much more beneficial. And you get so much more people staying and watching because a lot of people like switch the channel because it's just so long each point. And you got players like Nadal who pick their underwear out of their ass and scratch their nose and stuff like that and crotch and stuff. And it's just, I wish they would change it. But another thing I want to talk about is the heavyweight boxing fight in between the Mexican guy and the African American guy. And the upset happened all thanks to Drake because, I find it funny that whenever he wears a jersey of another team, or it's with someone who is performing a sporting event, that team or that person always loses. It's so funny. And there was a picture posted on that black guy's that boxer African American boxer's Instagram account saying, "I'm going to break the curse," and it's with Drake, and he lost. And it just tells you, like, and the Mexican guy, he was severely overweight, and then he comes 25-1 odds. So you really whoever picked him in Las Vegas, because I read that really messed up Vegas badly, and whoever picked him probably won heck of a lot of money, and to win all 4 titles, 25-1 odds, overweight, and being this guy who's probably better than that guy is phenomenal. So I was really proud of him to be the first Mexican world heavyweight champion. And, that's the real heavyweight champion of the world. Professional wrestling isn't, because they just wrestle. It's just, it's not like that. I don't know why they say heavyweight champion, world champion, because they're not world champion. World champion would be something like this, fighting guys all around the world and actually having a real belt, but they don't do that. So, whatever. But no, I'm happy for him to do that, and I'm just really glad to see that he won. And, he was on Jimmy Kimmel. I don't watch Jimmy Kimmel just because Jimmy Kimmel now is like most others. They can't stop talking about Trump. Yeah, Trump's a shitty person. But guess what? You can protest all you want, make all these signs, wear all these stupid friggin' animal hats and stuff like that, and do all this stuff and protest and make signs and all this stuff, make all these Facebook pages, but it's not going to do anything. He's already president. He's been president for almost 4 years now. Guess what? He'd probably be president for another 4 years because Bernie Sanders is going to beat Trump, and especially Joe Biden's not going to beat Trump. He's been out of it too long, and none of these other stupid Democrats are going to win. They're just not. They know why. Why do they run for president when they know they're not going to win? It's so ridiculous to think that, or for them to think that they're going to win the presidency. They're not going to. Like Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden have the best chance. I don't even know who's running Republican. I don't think anybody's come out yet. So it's just Trump's going to win again, and this thing's going to continue. Listen, he's not going to be impeached. Let's get that straight. Just because the Republicans are another public official like that, they're going to prevent it. Everyone's working together, and nothing's going to happen. And Comey, we thought he got fired. When I think Comey, special counsel, I forget what his name is, but he screwed everyone over by taking too long. And then the new attorney general, he's in cahoots with Trump, and he doesn't want to release anything. It's just, though people are always like, oh yeah, impeachment, and get out of here. Like I was saying, like Elizabeth Warren, she's never gonna be president. Let's get that thing straight. She thinks she will, but she's not. She's gonna run 1 billion times. She's gonna be 1 billion years old. She's never gonna win. And she's like, when we're in office, we're gonna do this, and when we're in office, we're gonna do that. You're not gonna be in office, Elizabeth Warren. Why are you saying this? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Sure, Trump's gonna screw us over again and everyone across the world for the next 9 years, but whatever. I can't do anything about it because I'm not really qualified enough to change anything, but whatever. So I went to this past weekend, this past Saturday, I should say, NXT Takeover 25, Connecticut, Webster Bank Arena in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I was really looking forward to going to that because I went to NXT Live in URI, I should say, where I go to college, and I loved it. And I years ago I went to when they had Monday Night Raw in Providence. I would go. I went twice, and I really liked going to the shows. Regardless, I was saying, wait, but this time Kingston was like, I gotta go to the front. I have to. So I bought a ticket front row, and it was so great. And I went to this one, and it wasn't that bad of a show. Just I was so far back on the floor because why would you sit up in the bleachers if you had the opportunity to sit on the ground floor? So I wanted to sit on the floor, but tickets went by so fast. I was section J of the back, and this guy sitting next to me was like sitting on my seat. So I was like, what the F? I was like, what the heck's the problem? These people in front of me are too tall for me to look over. So I was kind of bored and wasn't having fun just because I couldn't really see, and I wanted to see. But no, it was a good show, and I had fun. And actually, I usually tell my mother and father that I go to this stuff. Actually, the one time I went, I told them. And this other show I'm going to. But I didn't. Just because my mother, nothing against her, but she often likes to tell me stuff, the day of or the day before. So I should have just said it the day before. Like when she went to Florence and the Machine at the Xfinity Center in Mansfield, Mass, she told me, I think, the day before. She's like, okay, that's no problem. I shut down. I just never did. So I went, and she's like, oh, yeah, can you watch the dog? So I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So I was like, I can watch during the morning. She's like, what about afternoon? I was like, yeah, I can. Evening. So I was there, and I left at 2:30, 3 o'clock to get there on time because the doors open at about 4:45. Really, they open at like 5. And I got there, and I had to play along with the conversation saying that I was watching it. Then I thought she said she was coming home at 11. So I was like, okay, I got to leave at like 9 o'clock, 9:30. So I left, and I was racing home from Westerly, Rhode Island to Kingston, Rhode Island for like 20, 25 minutes, probably more. There was someone going like 20 and then like a 30 or like 35, 25 zone. I was like, can you hurry up? I'm trying to get home. Jesus Christ almighty. Like, it was so annoying. I was racing home. I got home, fed the dog, let him out, changed clothes, got into bed, put my keys away. And she didn't come home until like midnight, 1 o'clock. And I was like, I did all this for nothing. I could have stayed there. But overall, the show was great. I always recommend it. And I didn't tell anyone else really I was going. And I was talking to my friend about it. And he said, oh, you went by something. I'm like, yeah, because listen, with anything I do, there's always, maybe we'll see. I have to check my schedule. I don't know. Yeah, for sure. To do this, that. Yes or no? Can you make it? Yes. Do you want to go? Yes. Can you make it? No, I can't. I would love to, but I can't. I have this stuff. That's fine. Yes, I want a yes or no answer. Not this bullshit of, I don't know, maybe we'll see. I don't know. I check my schedule. I'm kind of busy, but maybe I can make some adjustments. Just yes or no. That's all I want. Like, fast, quick, yes or no. That's all I want. Okay? And if it comes to the last minute, fine. Just sell your ticket back. I'll give it to me. I'll give it to another person. I hate when people don't give me great answers. It was a great show. I'm going to. So speaking about the show, I'm going to. August 23rd. I'm going to the show for VTW Big Time Wrestling, McCoy Stadium. Almost pronounced it wrong. That was embarrassing. In Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and they have all these. They have actual members from that company or group, I should say. They also have like legends like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Bret Hart will be there. I'm actually doing a meet and greet with him. I'm so happy. One of the greatest in the world. Billy Gunn. What am I forgetting? Darren Young. Kevin Nash will be there. Many others. Ray Phoenix will be there. Pentagon, I think, hopefully will be there. I'm so happy that I'm getting this meet and greet. I'm excited to go to the show. So hopefully more people in the time coming will put their name up for meet and greets, and maybe I'll get another one. I mean, it cost me $75 for the meet and greet with Bret Hart, but it's worth it because Bret Hart's one of the greatest ever. He's top 3, top 5 of all time. And I'm so happy. So I'll go up there and I'll get there early. I'm actually working that day, unfortunately, so hopefully I can leave early or get there on time, or maybe find an alternate route. So it'll be interesting. And then, so I'll be looking forward to that. I'm working. I work at a summer camp. Not going to say which one because if this backfires on me, I'm going to be screwed. So I don't want to really, say anything wrong, say where I work so they can get at me for that. AEW, All Elite Wrestling, going to a war with WWE. I think that's a good idea. AEW when I saw the pre-show, I wanted to do the whole thing, but YouTube screwed me over. They gypped me like everyone else does. and I saw the Casino Battle Royale and some of the pre-show matches, but it was so great, and it's such a fresh content because you have a lot of guys, granted, from WWE, or guys who have competed shortly for WWE here and there, and it's such a great product. And yeah, they're right. They shouldn't be the place where all the WWE superstars go, former WWE superstars go. They shouldn't be ones just picking up all that talent like WCW did in the 90s, mid to late 90s, and early 2000s. I should say 2000, 2001. But no, it's so much of it's just such a refreshment. I'm happy, not JBL, Jim Ross is there, and it's such a great place right now and time for wrestling because WWE is stale. Vince McMahon doesn't know what he's doing, and there's so many guys on that roster who should be pushed and should have been world champion. They should have had the WWE title, Universal, US, or Intercontinental, even tag team by now. They don't have anything because Vince McMahon doesn't know what he's doing anymore. And he should just be gone, and Triple H should take over. Because you look at NXT, they do such a phenomenal job. And I feel bad for all the guys people who get called up because they're not going to get booked properly. So I got like Dean Malenko going over to AEW, and Arn Anderson getting fired for telling Alicia Fox when she was drunk to go out to the match. Granted, that shouldn't have happened, or she shouldn't have even gone out or gotten drunk in the first place. But he says, "Oh, I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna take some time off." He's gonna go there down the road. But it's just such a great promotion. I'm excited. Too bad that it won't have any shows around here. Hopefully they will in the future. But I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Dean Ambrose and stuff like that. And that's another thing. Dean Ambrose, he went over to New Japan Pro Wrestling and won the U.S. title there. That shouldn't have happened. Okay, someone like himself shouldn't just go over and win the title automatically. I hate when promotions do that for people. He's a good wrestler, a good character, a good gimmick, and it's just a good athlete. It's just that shouldn't have happened. He should have wrestled his way through, not just won the title there. But I'm happy for him regardless. But with that being said, I want to do a segment, and this segment's the top 10 list segment. Dave Letterman was famous for doing this. Each week I think it would be. I don't think it was. Maybe it was every day. I can't remember. So I wasn't really watching obviously talk shows. Late night shows when I was in middle school or elementary school. But this one, I don't know if I want to do this every day, but I think I'll do it once a week just because it'll work better and it'll be just more, it'll be better, flow more, just because every day there's not a lot, sure there's a lot of stuff to do every day, talk about top 10 lists, but it's not worth it to do it every day, so I might just do it once a week. But this one, my top 10 comedians, I'm really getting into the thing of watching comedians like Norm Macdonald, Robin Williams, and stuff like that. George Carlin really worked the craft and on YouTube. I'm really into that. Norm Macdonald's the best. But without further ado, I'm gonna do my top 10 list. So I'm gonna do number 10 and go down to finish with number 1. I'll have my closing remarks. But no, number 10, I have Conan O'Brien. The only reason why he's not higher is because Conan he's more known as not as a stand-up comedian, but he's known as a good talk show. He's been doing it for 30 years almost, and he was a writer for Saturday Night Live. He was a writer for The Simpsons. He's my favorite talk show person of all time. I know Johnny Carson's way past my prime, but I loved Johnny Carson. And I loved the other guy who I forget what the British guy was. That was before, the Late Show. I forget what his name is, but I loved him. But Conan's my favorite because he has the most genuine laugh ever out of all of them. Jimmy Fallon has the worst. Jimmy Kimmel's kind of close, but not really. But Conan O'Brien is the best for authentic actual laughs. And I just, with him, with Robin Williams, Norm Macdonald, it was so authentic. That's who it was, Craig Ferguson. Love Craig Ferguson, and I love Conan O'Brien, but Conan O'Brien's just the best late show host currently right now. But he's my 10th best, and he always has good guests, and I love his segments. The Clues the Gamer is extremely funny. But he's 10th. 9th is John Panette. And realistically, I really could have him at 9th, 8th, or 7th, but not just because, obviously, he's passed away, and that's not the only reason why, just because he doesn't have, he's not touring anymore, but he's so funny because he connects with anyone, and he connects really well with, people who are overweight, Ralphie May, and who's another one who I love, Ralphie May, and, if I'm forgetting, Joey Diaz, and people like that who are overweight, but still can do it. They're still funny if they're overweight. and he was just so funny. I love my favorite comedians are like actual comedians like Norm Macdonald does it. Kind of Joey Diaz does it. He tells a lot of stories, like storytelling comedians, so they're just funny. But John Pennant, I love him. He's got a great story about being over in Italy and having gelato and his water slide experience and skiing. It's just so funny. McDonald's, I love his bit about McDonald's. People ordering food, trying to figure out what they want in line. Meanwhile, he knows what he wants when he's parking his car while he's doing taxes. He's so funny. I miss you. I found out about him just before he passed away, unfortunately. But no, number 8, Rodney Dangerfield. He's the best. He's one of the greatest of all time. I think he's on Mount Rushmore as one of the greatest comedians of all time. So he always talks about no respect, and he really didn't get any respect. Known for doing pot and drinking, and so funny. He got into it later in life in his 30s, like Joy Behar, and what my friend's name is this other famous lady comedian. I should know her name. Oh, this is really getting in my gears. Let's check those female comedians. Let's see. Well, anyways, I know it's hard for people to get into it in their late 30s. So Phyllis Diller, that's who it was. Yeah, Phyllis Diller got into it later, like in their 30s as well, like Joey Behar and Roger Dangerfield. And Roger Dangerfield, actor, I loved him in Caddyshack, and he had Dangerfield's comic club, stand-up club, and he's just such great, and I love his stuff so much. And even when he was getting older, you could see he was fading a little bit. He was still so funny. Number 7, Louis Anderson. I got into him recently, the last couple months or so, last year I should say, last school year I should be more precise. And he's so funny too, because he's like John Pennant. He's real stories, everyday life stuff, and that's the type of comedian and comic stuff I like. That's the type of funny stuff I like. Comedy, I should say. And he's a big guy, so he's like John Pennant. He fights for those people. People, just because they're large doesn't mean they're not worth it or funny. And he's just so funny. I'm happy. I feel bad that he lost all of his parents, and his father was awful. And he's so funny, and I enjoy him. And I really want to watch the show Baskets with the guy from The Hangover. Not Andy from The Office, or the guy from National Treasure, or Ken Jeong, but the other guy. I can't remember his name. But no, he's just so funny. Number 6, Don Rickles. Don Rickles, I've started watching the last few years, and I love this show on YouTube, Dinner with Don. He's just so funny, and unfortunately he died, and what he struggled with, and how he was in a wheelchair and stuff. And he's known famously for saying hockey puck, his hockey puck saying, and being in Toy Story. And unfortunate that he couldn't actually say current lines for the new Toy Story movie, and they had to use old stuff, which I'm happy that he's in that one, because deservedly so. But, I love him. My aunt hates him on my mother's side because he makes fun of people. But the thing is, look at, he's been doing it for the last 50 years, 60 years. And, people are too soft nowadays, too much of a baby to take this. Listen, obviously he doesn't mean it, making fun of people. But listen, years ago, it was fine. People have I did that one time. Like I said, make jokes about people. And then people got so offended. You can't get so offended about stuff like this. It's not, and compared to other things, listen, global warming's a much bigger deal than making fun of people. Abortion, that's a bigger deal than making fun of people. So, and having the rights to speak your mind, freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion, freedom of protest, those are all basic fundamental rights that are way more important and bigger deal than making fun of people. And people don't realize that. But I love Don Rickles. Even near the end, when he was fading, I shouldn't say fading, but near the end of his life, he was still funny. That show was so great. The next person on my list, number 5, George Carlin. And he's another guy. He's a guy, against public, against society. And him, saying how everything's awful and shitty and all that stuff. And I love his comedy because it's so funny. And, it's funny, these guys near the end of their lives, Rodney Dangerfield, Don Rickles, George Carlin, they're all still so good at the end of his life. And constantly being set up. And, George Carlin, known for his drug use. And I'm happy that he kicked it. I'm sure, he wasn't. I'm sure he was drinking near the end of his life. But he's just so funny. I'm happy that I got into him in the last year or so, year and a half. He's been dead probably for 11 years. But I'm just so happy I got into him because he's so funny. Number 4, Bill Burr, modern day touring. And I'm happy that he's alive doing it. And I got into him. He's another guy. he always is going after stuff and his reaction to stuff, and he's just so funny. I love him. He was a bit when he was on this thing on YouTube. This clip, he was on the show promoting stand up, and the show F is for Family on Netflix. And there's these chairs, and they were like saloon chairs, like they normal high chairs, but they had like no like backrest, like lower back, like at the bottom, like your pelvis, or, like around your pelvis, like a quarter of your back, and it was like so uncomfortable. And it was just so funny because he was torturing the host of the program, and it was so funny. But Bill Burr's show F is for Family is great. I watched it. I have to get back into it because I didn't finish it, and I have a lot of time this summer that I can hopefully finish all the stuff on my list. But he's such a funny guy, and I love him. There's one joke he had about being in an airport, and he saw this guy. He was as large as a grizzly bear, and he was rubbing his back down on the support beam, up and down like a grizzly bear. He said, and it was so funny because you don't really joke about that stuff because people get offended about that, and it just, oh my gosh, it was so funny. That's why this lady was shoving stuff down like her throat like a pelican, and that was funny. And he's such a great comedian, and he doesn't take a lot of crap from anyone. And I'm trying to log back into my computer. This thing logged off on me, but no, he's so funny. But I want to see him one day. Number 4, actually no, number 4, number 3, Joey Diaz, Uncle Joey, Coco Diaz, is one of the funniest guys ever. He's another drug guy. I guess I have a thing for comedians who have done drugs and stuff. But he's so funny, and he's got so many great stories of growing up in New York or New Jersey, and comedy and his drug use and stuff like that, and how he would scheme people. And he's playing in December in Mass, and I want to go see him. I have a friend that transferred from URI this past year to the film school in Boston, not Berkeley. When I'm saying that. So me and him might meet up, and I might go with Michael to go see Joey Diaz. But he's so funny. He's such a nice guy, and he's got a little kid. At Late in Life, good for him for doing that. And he's got a bunch of cats, stray cats. That's another funny thing. Who the hell takes in stray cats? And he had like 5 of them. Like that's just so crazy. There's one story he talked about how he was tripping off acid hard, and he was with a girl in like a shed, like a tool shed in the back of your yard, I should say. And he was on acid, and she was sucking his, he was giving him the good stuff, and he was tripping so hard that her chest was getting so huge that he started screaming like, "No more, no more, no more boobs, no more boobs," and he just ran out, and it was so funny. And he's also I think he was running from the cops. That was just so funny. Number 2, Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald, one of the funniest ever. I started getting to him more recently last school year thanks to my friend who goes to film school in Boston. And he's so funny because he's so slow, and his act is so slow, and that's how he is. And he delivers all these jokes that are like old time jokes. And I love his show, Norm Macdonald Live. And too bad it's on Netflix, which is probably a good thing because it's not R-rated, but he says a lot of edgy stuff, and he's known for edginess. And he's just like Joey Diaz, and he's so funny. And I love how he delivers it slowly, and he's like and he's so he's so funny. I'm so happy that he's doing that. I feel bad that he gained like 40 pounds, and he looks not the best, but I wish he had his own talk show. We had a joke on Howard Stern about instead of using the R word, which you can't use nowadays, which you shouldn't use, it's awful. And it's not just saying because I was on Unified Basketball and whatnot, and I love being with or helping out kids with special needs, but you shouldn't say the R word. It's disrespectful and disgusting and gross and all of that. And then so he called himself before using it, because Howard Stern, that's a provocative show, regardless if he's changed or not. But he almost put him in a trap of saying it. So he caught himself saying the R word, and he said you gotta have Down syndrome to believe that or something like that. And that was awful saying that. He shouldn't have said that. And I'm not trying to copy what he was saying, but that was stupid for him to say that. And then he went on to the View, which was an awful decision. I mean, granted, good for him for to do it himself to talk about what happened, but he just looked so defeated, and they were going at his neck. And Joy Behar and Whoopi, they all love him. The people on the show love him. He was just so defeated and hurt him badly, and it's his fault, kind of, for saying it. but he should have gotten flack for it. He shouldn't have had to, like, he wanted to go on that Joe Rogan show. Netflix said no. Like, screw Netflix. Like, that's awful. That's shitty if Netflix don't let him do it. He wants to go on himself. He wants to say why he did it. And wants to prove himself wrong, saying how he's not a bad guy. All these comedians are getting in trouble nowadays for doing stuff. Some should get in trouble, and some shouldn't. But I love Norm Macdonald for his comedy. He's so funny. Number one, though, my all-time greatest, one that I've been listening to for years and years and years. I love his movie Mrs. Doubtfire, his movie Insomnia. He's just such a great actor. Peter Pan when he was in that. Robin Williams, number one. Rest in peace. One of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time, the greatest comedian of all time. There's Jerry Seinfeld, Richard Pryor. I never got into those guys. They just weren't for me. And I could have Ralphie May and I'm forgetting his name, Jerry Seinfeld on this list, but I never gotten into them. Ralphie May, he would be 11th. But Robin was just so great, and I loved how you invite him on the show. You just throw away the questions, rip them up, burn them, because you're not going to get to the questions really. He's just you let him go wild like a dog in a field with tennis balls and stuff. He was so great. All of his impressions and acts, and he just was so full of energy. And I loved when he was on Conan and The Tonight Show and David Letterman and Craig Ferguson. And Craig Ferguson is really when he let wild. That was his real stuff, because he is a blue comedian, and his special he did in DC, that was phenomenal. Weapons of Self-Destruction. And I was talking with my mother about him the other day, and he did so much good work with people overseas, military overseas, and on the movie set he wanted a certain amount of homeless people working there and being in the movie. It was so great, the work he did, and it was just so sad to see him with LBD, Lewy body disease, and him just fading. And I remember reading that not each time, but a lot of the time when he was on Tonight shows and stuff like that, he'd always ask commercial break, "Oh, was I funny and whatnot?" And it was so sad seeing him fade and not think he was funny enough, and to end up seeing him kill himself. That was so sad, because he was in the middle of a reboot for a sequel to Mrs. Doubtfire. That would have been so funny, and they had to cancel it. But I feel so bad for him for what happened. He's a role model for me, an icon, a legend, and my dad loved him, and my grandparents loved him. Everyone loved him, and hopefully he's up there, Robin up there doing well with Chris Farley, another phenomenal one I loved. But they all the good ones die for some reason. And I don't want to make this talk about death, but he was so great at Aladdin, and screw them making a live action one. And you could say all they want how they made all this money and stuff, and Will Smith can never hold Robin Williams' jock strap as the genie. Let's get that straight, okay? That movie should just been left alone. It should not been made to live action. And screw Disney for making all these live action ones. Leave these movies alone. They should never have been made into live action, some of these. I don't care how successful they did, but they shouldn't have done that to any of them. Some of these are some of the greatest movies, animation-wise, all time. Beauty and the Beast. Snow White, they're doing one on. Screw that. This Aladdin, it was so great. And I'm just so happy I got into a lot of these comedians. And, the closing statement I want to make, reaching an hour speaking, which is crazy. But, my channel, podcast, I guess you could call it. This is kind of what I want to talk about. Stuff in the news, stuff, a lot of podcasts, like certain podcasts, strictly just, certain stuff, talk about money saving and stuff like that, or government, or, sports. I want to reach all different subjects and topics, because, that's who I am, And I don't go extensive into stuff, as you can tell. I don't know a whole lot about all this stuff, but I just talk about my point of view, my message about this, shooting the breeze, as it's called, shooting the breeze with the big guy. And, warnings, I might swear, I've said shit a lot in here, and hell, and bullshit, and stuff like that, and balls, but, that's just who I am. I swear a lot, big deal. And I'm not that techie, so I don't know how to edit that and bleep it, so I'm just going to leave it in there. The person who does, the friend that does the Goons podcast, they say the R word a lot, which is awful, I should say that. And they say a lot, swear a lot, and they shouldn't do it as much as they do. So I do it here and there. But, scheduling, I would like to try to do it every day. I mean, when summer actually starts, when everyone else in the town, because I'm in college, and we got early May. So I've been out for practically almost a month now. And the kids in high school, elementary school, middle school, my parents are still, because my parents teach, and everyone's still in school. So once they get out, they'll be home more. So it'll be more tricky to do it. So it's more of, I think I would record later at night, where people are asleep, not because I'm afraid to do it, it's just like my mother's against me doing anything related to this on YouTube and whatnot. So, but I'm looking forward to this. So I'll try to do it every day as much as I can. And same thing. Talk about stuff going on in the day and weekend stuff like that. My opinion on it. And see what goes on. If I enjoy doing this, maybe I'll continue doing this on YouTube and hopefully get on Apple Music and Spotify. Maybe I know that you have to have a certain amount to get into both, and I really don't want to pay for a subscription to tell you the truth, because it's not really what I want to do. But whatever, we'll see. I paid for Amazon Prime. I'll take that off just because I don't want that. And I have Apple Music, so we'll see where this goes. But no, I really enjoyed doing this week, and I hope all you, my the biggest of guy fans out there, the big guys and girls out there, enjoy this. So I'll talk to you all later. Thank you for listening. This has been the Big Guy on Shooting the Breeze. See you later, guys. Bye bye.